Sole Dore. It's such a delicious technique. So simple. If you're afraid of cooking fish, which amazingly a lot of people are, this is the recipe for you. So check this out. Foolproof. I have 3 pieces of filet of sole. All right, any thin white fish works for this. Tilapia, anything like that. Red snapper. I'm going to salt and pepper both sides. Now notice the 2 sides of the fish. That's the skin side. All right, there's no skin on it, but that was the skin side. It's the rounded side. All right, and you'll see when I turn this over, you're going to see basically the flat side, or the side that was actually attached to the bone, the skeleton of the fish. Okay. Now I want you just to note that, because when we put this in the pan, I want it to go down on the other side first. Just makes a nicer presentation. So we're going to salt and pepper both sides. All right. And again, we got to season well there. That way we don't have to worry about seasoning our flour and our egg. Now, most people dredge this in a big bin of flour and then they throw the flour away. You just sprinkle with your fingers flour on both sides. All right, so I sprinkled it. I patted in with one hand. And don't be sticking that hand into the flour bag to get the other side. All right, I'm going to use my other hand, my clean hand now. So that's still the fish hand. All right, I'm going to grab another pinch of flour with my other hand. I'm going to sprinkle that on. And then with the hand that's already dirty, that I already rubbed the fish, I'm going to finish this side. All right. Now, this is just to me an easier method. As long as there's flour attached to the entire piece of fish, you're good to go. And that way you saved yourself the trouble of having that big pan of flour. I don't know why people do that. They've got like a pound of flour and they do the fish and they have to throw the whole thing away. So that fish is nicely dusted with flour both sides. I took 2 eggs and I just, with a fork, whipped it up. And I'm going to dip and actually keep right in the egg these pieces of fish. So I'm using my tongs here. I'm just going to put it in, turn it over, just make sure it's all covered. All right, and in goes the 3rd piece. Now what happens there? The flour attached to the fish now hits that egg, and it basically forms a very thin, very light, delicate egg batter. Okay? In my saute pan, I have a couple tablespoons of olive oil and a little chunk of butter, maybe a tablespoon or so. I'm going to bring that up to medium heat, and I just want it to melt and get up to where the butter just starts to kind of foam. You can actually see there it's bubbling a little bit. I don't want this smoking hot, okay? I want you to keep the heat on medium. Egg gets very bitter when it's browned, when it gets too brown. So don't be afraid to go a little low with the heat here. We're not frying this fish, we're just giving it a gentle saute. And just take it right out of that egg mixture and just lay it right in the pan. And you're going to give it just this is really, really quick dish, maybe 2 minutes on each side. All right. And again, it's such a great method. It really keeps the fish moist. If you're doing this for a party, you can do these ahead of time and put them on a tray and just keep them warm in the oven. It's really, really a forgiving dish. So that was 2 minutes. I flipped them over. Now with my spatula here, if any of the egg kind of went astray, see how nice and golden that is? You don't want any darker than that, all right? Otherwise it might get bitter. But that is just perfect. Now with my spatula here, if any of the egg went astray, I'm going to just use the sharp edge of the spatula. And see how I'm just going to cut that off? That's just for presentation. So you don't want that straggly egg on the plate. And that's really it, believe it or not. That is a beautiful way to cook fish. I serve this with some sweet potato fries that you find in the frozen food section of the market. I love that product. It's great with fish. We have a demo on the site for this lemon caper butter sauce. Perfect with this. That is a world-class gourmet fish dish. And little did your guests know how easy that was. So moist, so delicious. I really hope you give this a try. Don't be afraid of cooking fish. Okay, there's nothing to be afraid of, especially that thin filet of sole type fish. It just cooks so fast. There's really not a lot that can go wrong with it. So I want you to give that a try and enjoy.